You're watching Cheryl Hack, part of Hello Angels Week on Biography.
After years of dreaming of becoming an actress, Cheryl Jean Stoppelmoor had made it to Hollywood. Her only experience was singing with a band, but she was determined to become a star. Except in 1969, no one, it seemed, had any use for a South Dakota girl who could dance and sing, and Cheryl felt as if she had been born 20 years too late. Still, she approached the town with an unwavering optimism.
Right from the first night that I met her, she just has this air of, I can do it, you know. She got an audition with Gene Kelly. Cheryl was a lot cooler than I was. I mean, I was so jazzed, and maybe down deep she was jazzed to be singing for Gene Kelly, but she didn't really show it.
That audition didn't pay off. But finally, after several months, Cheryl got her first break when she was signed as the singing voice of Melody in the cartoon series Josie and the Pussycats. The show paid residuals and allowed Cheryl to get an apartment, a car, and her feet on the ground. The following year, Cheryl was cast in her first feature film, Treasure of the Jamaica Reef.
Josh? He's all right! He's all right!
Hey, Josh!
Hey, wait a minute. Don't you have to decompress him?
While on location in the Caribbean, she met her co-star, David Ladd, son of legendary screen actor Alan Ladd. The attraction was mutual and immediate.
He said, you know, he was stunningly good-looking. He had just this really beautiful swimmer's body, and they fell in love on this island. And then I think she had to get on an airplane and go back to California, and he was stuck there. He had to film some more. And from what I understand, the two of them were at the airport crying, I love you so much. Oh, gosh, I'll never love anyone. I'll miss you so much.
At 24, David Ladd was a Hollywood veteran. He had been a well-known child actor and grown up on the set with his father. At 20, Cheryl was still the wide-eyed young girl, and David introduced her to a whole new world.
He just helped me in so many ways. I mean, just truly broadened my horizons on every level. I'd never seen a Mercedes-Benz. I didn't know what one was, you know. I'd never been in a Gucci store. I'd never seen great silverware and clothes and scarves and so many beautiful things. I grew up in a farm town in South Dakota. It's amazing how quickly you can kind of take to that sort of beautiful thing.
Things were beginning to look up for Cheryl Stoppelmoor. For years, the roles were few and far between. Now, she was getting more work. In 1972, Cheryl became a regular on the Ken Berry Wow Show, a variety program. It was a chance to hone her comedic skills, which would later prove invaluable.
Comedy so often is just making a complete ass of yourself in front of millions of people. And there are people who are not willing to do that. You know, it's kind of hard. And she was willing to do it. They were this beautiful, young, perfect creature, and she was willing to make an ass of herself. She was fun.
The following year, she made her TV movie debut in Satan's School for Girls, now a horror cult classic. It was a glimpse of things to come. The show was produced by Aaron Spelling and Leonard Goldberg and starred her future co-angel, Kate Jackson. At the same time as Cheryl's acting career was coming together, so was her personal life. Cheryl and David had dated for 18 months and were now living together. One day, they were making travel plans and discovered that for an extra $20, they could stop in Las Vegas for a wedding. With both families in attendance, they were married in May 1973. For some time, Cheryl had been trying to find the right professional name. She had tried Sherry Moore, Sherry Stoppelmoor, and Cheryl Jean Stoppelmoor. Now, she was Mrs. Cheryl Ladd, but it would be some time before she used that name. It was Ron Howard who convinced her to do so when she made a guest appearance on Happy Days, playing starlet Cindy Shay in 1974.
He said, well, you don't want to have Stoppelmoor on the thing because, you know, sometimes when you star in something, they negotiate for size of title, you know, percentage of title and things like this. He said, Stoppelmoor, my gosh, your name's only ever going to be this big. He said, Ladd will be this big. I went, oh, yeah, never thought of that.
What most people didn't know was that Richie Cunningham's prom date was 3 months pregnant at the time. 6 months later, on January 14th, 1975, Cheryl gave birth to a daughter, Jordan. From the moment Jordan was born, motherhood became a priority for Cheryl, and she stayed home with her daughter as much as she could. While Cheryl was happy in her life at home, her acting career still left a lot to be desired. She had made dozens of commercials and television guest appearances.
The pure magic part? They shimmer like your lips to give a lasting, super luscious shine.
But the parts were usually small and short-lived. Cheryl wanted more from her acting, and in Spelling and Goldberg's television drama Family, about a family of 5 living in Pasadena, she thought she'd found it. She auditioned for the role of Nancy Lawrence, the oldest daughter.
I got a call from there and said, great news, you know, it's going to be you, we all love you, and good for you. And I was just over the moon. I was just so excited. The next morning, someone else called me and said no, that they had changed their mind and it was going to be Meredith Baxter Birney. I just felt she had a little more experience. I was just devastated. Oh, I will never forget that phone call as long as I live. I was destroyed.
Family premiered in 1976, but it was another show on television that became the pop culture phenomenon of the season. It was called Charlie's Angels, and it starred 3 beautiful crime stoppers, Kate Jackson, Farrah Fawcett Majors, and Jacqueline Smith. Charlie's Angels premiered on September 22nd, 1976, and was an immediate hit. By November, 59% of people watching television at that hour were tuning in.
It had just the kind of right mixture of campiness and action and adventure and a mystery detective story, and all those 3 things combined.
I think it was the first time you could see empowered women on television, but not just empowered women. These were beautiful, beautifully dressed, glamorous, smart, and they did what heretofore men had done. It was the beginning of girl power.
Girl power, or said some, sexual exploitation. Each week, Angels offered up a regular serving of girls, guns, and glamour.
One of the nicknames was Jiggle TV and Wiggle TV.
Open your towel.
Basically, in the first year, I heard mostly, get them in bathing suits and get them in shower scenes and get them out in public doing running a lot and shooting a lot, smiling a lot, and moving a lot.
But something surpassed even the popularity of the show itself, and that was the popularity of one of the Angels, Farrah Fawcett Majors. At 29, Texas-born Farrah was the girl next door with fabulous teeth and hair, who alone spawned a hairdo of a generation of teenage girls.
When Farrah hit, and she really hit hard, she was a phenomenon. It was just, women would go in and say to a beauty parlor, do me a Farrah.
Although her pinup poster earned her the devotion of millions of teenage boys and men, Farrah was devoted to just one person, her husband, Lee Majors, who was also the star of his own series, The $6 Million Man. Her contract even guaranteed that she could leave work in time to prepare his dinner. But after just one season of Charlie's Angels, Farrah dropped a bombshell. She said she wanted out of the show. Celebrity, it seems, was putting a strain on her famous marriage, and a contract dispute soon erupted.
Her husband wanted her to quit because she was never at home, and he said, I'm making $50,000 a week and you're making $5, so guess who's going to stay at home? And to make that work for them, I think she demanded $70,000 a week salary, knowing full well they wouldn't pay it, so it got pretty hairy.
A legal battle followed, and Farrah agreed to return for 6 episodes. But the question remained, who could take the place of a phenomenon? It was Aaron Spelling who came in with the suggestion of Cheryl Ladd, the result of a chance encounter.
Candy and I, my wife, were having dinner together at a restaurant, and sitting at a table near us was David and Cheryl Ladd, and they were sweet enough to come over and say hello and everything. And they left, and my wife turned to me and said, Cheryl is beautiful. Why can't she replace Farrah? And I said, gee, it's a great, I'm glad I thought of that, honey. And I went over and asked her if she'd be interested in doing it. And she said, no, I don't want to be the one who replaces Farrah Fawcett.
I said no and no thank you, and then they looked at a lot of girls, and in the meantime I went to my acting class and I saw a lot of 30, 35-year-old actors who'd never gotten a break. And that sort of struck me one night, because when I was telling a lot of my friends that I had this opportunity, that Aaron had called me about replacing Farrah and that I had said no, they looked at me like I was from Mars. What is the matter with you? He said, this is a huge break.
With time running out, Cheryl finally agreed to read for the part. She was just what they'd been looking for.
With Cheryl, it worked. You know, in the reading, the first reading, she had the sensuality of Farrah, but she also had a marvelous sense of humor about herself, and that's exactly what we're looking for. A sweetness, which would also say to the audience, how could you dislike her?
Still, Cheryl was reluctant. She worried that the audience would hate her for replacing Farrah. She agreed to the role on one condition.
If I didn't have to try to be Farrah, I said, could I be funny? And he goes, well, yeah, why not? I said, if I could just be funny and make mistakes. And he said, what if you were her kid sister? I said, nobody can hate the kid sister.
Or could they? In the summer of 1977, Ladd accepted the part of Chris Monroe, the rookie kid sister of Farrah's character, Jill Monroe. She was a different kind of angel, inexperienced and a little goofy. But whether that would be enough to take Farrah's place remained to be seen.
You're watching Hello Angels Week on Biography.